This is Christian Ackerman with the Fast Coast Film Academy and Fast Coast Productions, and I'm here in my studio office, and I have a behind the scenes of Blade Runner, the recent Blade Runner movie, playing here on my big screen here, which is basically just my wall. I don't decorate this wall, so I just project everything on it from my projector over here. And look at that, it looks like SPACELOCK. See if you can see the toys and stuff. That's kind of like how we did the backgrounds of SPACELOCK with this nice Pentax 50mm. Got an adapter and put that on my 4K camera when shooting SPACELOCK, and that's how we got some of that amazing imagery when we were on actually real sets, and also on green screen too. So we used that thing. So that thing was awesome, shooting in some old glass that actually worked. It was glass that I used to use in college with my Pentax camera. God rest his soul. I kind of took it apart to try to build some other equipment. I kind of do that. I kind of be resourceful and build my own equipment. But anyways, tonight here's another vlog, raw vlog, and I've been editing, not as long. I edited a little bit, I think a lot the following day. I was up till like 3 in the morning editing, actually. So always the weekends are great, or times when I don't have school, or I'm off the following day. If I have a chance, once everything's all done, I'll just edit away. And so tonight I've finished a scene that's actually used in one of our teaser trailers with Kale, who plays a character named Gibson. He's on the Odyssey Bridge, and I took the same ghost tour shot and took the shot of him actually on the bridge and put him into the set extension. So it's all the stuff around him is all real set, except for the extended, like the ceiling part, and probably about 4 feet off to the sides to him. I'm trying to remember how big the actual set was, but about 4 or 5 feet off to the sides to him is all set extension. So I built this shot and finished that tonight. Yesterday I had to build the entire rec room, like recreate it digitally with real elements, but manipulating them in a virtual environment. And so, but it came out pretty good because it was real elements, except for a few items in there, and real set panels actually that I took pictures of, cloned, so I can digitally build portions of the ship or set extend certain places where I need paneling and stuff like that. So basically, in a way, because of when we were shooting this movie, a lot of things were being built while we were shooting, and there's a lot to never done a real space movie before. I've done things that are science fiction and space-like. The last space movie I think I really did was like Heroes of the Galaxy, which was a funny comedy show parody of Star Wars. So that I don't really consider a real space movie. So this is like really, I guess, a first time go at making a actual space movie that takes place in space. So in this like futuristic world, and try to make a action like sci-fi horror movie. So that's what we're doing here. So the next, I think, thing I'm going to be starting to work on is monster creation, and I call it the hybrid makeup effects, like we did with DJ Sherwood, and Megan Bradshaw did the prosthetics and then actually put green screen around his mouth, and then we added in the elements later. We used not Final Cut Pro, we didn't use the Pixel Film Studios, which I'm going to get, but Pixel Film Studios does have a motion tracking system, but I haven't used it yet or looked into it yet. So I used HitFilm Express because they have a Mocha tracking system that's the same thing that they use in After Effects. And so I used HitFilm for the motion tracking of the prosthetic mouth with the hybrid CGI enhancement, which was really, I shot a real element of I took a skull, dislocated its jaw, painted it up, put makeup on it, made it look all nasty, like the jaw was ripped hanging. Then we placed that inside Megan Bradshaw's makeup enhancement. And I never did anything like that before, and so I shot it really by planning ahead, like trying to anticipate the problems and that I would encounter in post and editing, and I did an okay job. I did a good job. I cut corners. Plus, being the director, editor, writer, you know, all that, all of the above, executive producer, all that, I'm able to make calls on the cuts, so I don't have to go reshoot. Plus, you have to work around people's schedules when you want to reshoot, because everybody has a daytime job, you know, life, you know, basically is happening. And while you're making your little movie, which is an ambitious project, and it's only going to be like an hour or so long, feature film, but you have to keep moving through while life keeps going. And so, and then you just have to keep your eye on the ball and on the goal of completing. Really, all when I'm in this right now, in the state I'm at right now, is I'm trying to build the ship, do all the things I planned on doing, and I'm also learning on top of that, plus doing a lot of old tricks that I learned in the past, where I've gotten a little bit better. There's some things I watch and they still look like the old tricks where they're not quite working, so I try to redo them, or do some new tricks where I can kind of get around it and kind of hide the mistakes I still make, that I'm trying not to make. I really am trying not to make any mistakes. I'm really trying to make this movie kind of fun and interesting to watch. I'm trying to make, I always, too, how I approach my filmmaking, a little note here for filmmakers out there. I noticed there's a lot of movies out there that look really, really good. Like the quality looks amazing, and then you watch it and you're like, wow, that looked really cool, but I'm not going to go watch that movie again. Like, I watched it one time, it was a one-timer. And what I try to do, and I hope my movies are like this is all, everybody has their own opinions. I mean, I've seen them all on YouTube. I've seen them on Netflix. I've seen them on Amazon Prime. I've seen all of them, that the negative ones I'm talking about. Because sometimes you'll have somebody give you actual like information, but again, they're all opinions. You gotta deal with them as you would, like anybody that you don't know, you know, because they don't really know you. So I'm not going to get too deep here on this vlog, but basically what I do is I just basically make a movie that I really want to see. Like even on my level, I break it down. I'm very analytical, so I break it down to, if it was like a movie that I knew was like a no budget, low budget, whatever, or a small budget film, and I don't know any of the actors, what would get me through it? What would make me like root for these guys? What would make me want to watch it? And that's what I try to throw into my movies, so people want to watch them. And I think so far it's been working. Not like, I don't have like millions of views. Maybe if I tally it up over other people's channels that my stuff is on, and other social media and platforms and stuff like that, maybe I do, maybe I'm there. But I'm starting to see in my channel growth after, I forget, I'll have to look at my first post video when I started Fast Coast Productions YouTube channel. I really started trying to understand where I was going with the my product, or the marketing, the persona of Fast Coast Productions, and then I didn't know it would turn into what it has. I try to make things that have entertainment value, that even if they look like old and weathered and torn, or they look low budget, crude, kind of quaint, I guess is the word. I'm trying to think of the words, or very just low budget, crappy filmmaking. I try to make them interesting, at least, so they're fun to watch. I try to get inspired by other filmmakers, and two, I try, in a weird way, I try to be inspired by the films. Like, this is why I was watching the Blade Runner, new Blade Runner behind the scenes. I'm probably going to put in the old one too, the original Ridley Scott Blade Runner making of, because those are great, like full feature documentary about that movie. And I love how they would say, like, when something didn't work, they would do tricks and stuff, and that's kind of what I've done on this film. Even, believe it or not, for the SPACELOCK, Evil Dead, the Evil Dead films, I like how Sam Raimi can use camera movement and also use that as an adverb, an adjective, in the movement of what's happening in a scene. And also, that's basically what a camera movement is in filmmaking. But also how he can crescendo up to, it's like he's like turning the insanity meter up in the action and all the intenseness and the scare and the action, all that stuff. And he's slowly turning it up, and it's just like a big orchestrated, like, great crescendo. And I've watched like weird movies you wouldn't even think I'm using to inspire me to making SPACELOCK. I watched Citizen Kane. I love that film just because I knew Orson Welles was 25 years old when he made that film. And it was like mind-blowing film at the time when it came out. Nobody would think anything of it until like after, I think, really it came out, after people found out how he made it. And then years after that, he was doing groundbreaking things just because he didn't know there were rules. He was just like, I'm an actor, I'm a performer, I want to put the camera here, and they tell him, Mr. Wells, you can't put the camera there. And he'd be like, why not? And then they'd be like, okay, and they would have to build a rig or whatever to make it happen, or do this. Or you like, I want the camera to pull through all the way through. Well, Mr. Wells, we can't do that. Well, why not? Well, okay, we'll build a rig. And so that's another inspiration I watch. So I watch a lot of films to inspire me. And sometimes it's just like watching my kids' stuff. Like we're watching like Teen Titans Go. Go to the movies. That sounds weird, but just storytelling in general, like an entertainment value, why you make movies. I think sometimes filmmakers forget why they make films. Like even me, you can get lost in just being a filmmaker persona. You can get lost in there, and I think the people that are trying to be a filmmaker, as opposed that are filmmakers because they want to make a film. They're trying to, it's almost like playing pretend. It's great, they're inspired, and sometimes, ironically, they'll come out with something amazing. Who knows, maybe I'm that person, I don't know. I struggle with it, I love it, and my wife always says, you'll never give it up because you're always thinking of ideas. But there have been moments in my life where I almost gave it up, because sometimes it almost like if you ask somebody out and they're not interested in you, and you're like, oh, okay, if I know they're not interested in me, if this is not going to work out, the relationship's not going to work out, I'll move on to go on to the next. There's plain efficiency, kind of like that. So I feel like filmmaking is that way. The thing you love to do is kind of like that. There was a point in my life where I was like, okay, if this film doesn't work, this movie I'm working on doesn't work, I just need to know, am I going the right direction? And I remember in that moment, somebody said, go turn this film in. Go ahead and turn this in. So I turned it in to a film festival. And who knows if that person's watching right now. I'm going to try to keep it private so I don't talk, but they'll know who they are. Or maybe they think they know who they are. But anyways, and this was like early 2000, I think. And I made a little short film, like 25 minutes long. And back then, that was like a long short film. I even had a friend who was a filmmaker, or in the film industry, also director, working on television, films, all that kind of stuff. And they told me that it was still, they think they were being very sweet, and they told me they think it was a little too long still. That was the only critique they had. They didn't say anything bad about the movie. They just said, I just think it's a little too long. I think they said that the story was good, it was strong, but it was a little too long. And so I went, okay, and I had a moment of choice there. Well, I can cut it down more, or I can be happy with it. And I knew, like, I was happy with the final cut that I did because I went through already different drafts by myself with it, that I wouldn't, even though that person said, oh, it's too long, I thought, I'll just keep it, I'm not going to change it because I feel like I can ruin it. I'm still new at this, so I'll just take my chances. And still at that same time, I was like, I suck as a filmmaker. I stink, and I still go through this. And there's plenty nowadays. There's plenty of people that tell you suck. So it's really hard. You're really an underdog. People do not want you to make films. You're like, you suck, you stink. And I was already going through that. I'm my worst enemy, dealing with that. And so I remember I made that film, that 25-minute film, and I turned it into a film festival. And I remember I I got a big manila envelope. I forgot about it actually, and I got a manila envelope in the mail, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this is. And it said to me, it was addressed to me, and I opened it up, and it said that they were glad to inform me and to congratulate me that I have won the award for non-professional original teleplay for my film. Teleplay would mean like a good story, good writing. It's kind of broad, but I can tell a story, and I felt like this means I did something. And this was a big deal for me because it was a big festival at the time, and that was a big deal. And then it was over. That was it. But I had this street cred of I accepted an award, and then it went on. Then I got another award for video art, a little animation thing I did. It was I thought it was a piece of crap. And then I won more awards, and then recently, 2 or 3 years back, I won an award for my film, a short film category for our mini-series Grid Street, and then I won also second place in screenwriting. So I could tell, like, okay, now I know I'm a writer. I can write. I know because people have awarded me this. People that don't know me, don't care about my feelings, they awarded me these awards, and that's why I think sometimes that matters. And so that's why I think, too, I take criticism. I can tell if somebody's just being a jerk. Sometimes I actually listen to the criticism. I won't talk to them in case it's like if I read into it wrong or whatever. But I think I do it, but it does hurt your feelings. But at the same time, it builds that tough skin so you can talk about what you do. And I kind of take it and go, oh, okay. But it's funny, I'll get 2 or 3 negative criticisms, and then I'll get 4 or 5, 6 positive critiques that people like my movies or whatnot, or a magazine will write up, an article about us. And so I'm just going to keep on going, even like right now. And today I was talking to my wife, and I go, I just hope one day, like I'm even hoping this one, always the movie I'm working on at the moment, I'm hoping this is the film that's going to be the film that people go, just look at it as any other movie. And sometimes my movies do, even my old ones, people look at it just like any other movie. They think we have like a big budget, and they're like, their criticism is like, you spent the money wrong, but we didn't have any money. But I feel like one day I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right. And they're going to ask, like, how'd you do it? And I'm going to be like, I was just in a room with a computer editing footage of my friends and family and volunteers that came. And they're going to be like, what the hell? How'd you do that? And I'm going to be like, I just did it because I had to. And really why I make movies is it just goes back to being a kid. Movies saved me as a kid. That's another vlog, another day. Movies saved me as a kid. And we'll talk about that next vlog. We'll see how it goes. This is Christian Ackerman with Fast Coast Film Academy and Fast Coast Productions here at the small office, home office. I hope to see you in the movies.